Hello, beautiful souls. How are you today? I'm here to evolve your reality and help shift your energy. Today, we're going to talk about Starseed Activation DNA. So, what is that, right? So, a lot of us that are here on Earth are actually Starseed DNA, light workers, healers, energy workers. You might have heard these terms. If you haven't, you might want to do a little bit of research because you're probably watching this video for a reason. Now, to kind of get into it, we have to go back to like a couple hundred years ago when the earth was in distress. The earth was in distress. There was war going on. There was fighting. So Mother Earth, Mother Gaia, sent out a signal to the stars, an SOS, so to speak. Many of us heard that call and took action. And that's when we came here to help raise the vibration of the consciousness of the earth as a collective, as a whole, to help transform and rebuild like a new reality, a new life. And you can kind of see that that's majorly happening ever since like 2020 was like a major shift. There was a lot of planets in Capricorn, which like caused a lot of like destruction and fall, and a lot of like, obviously you saw what happened. And that was meant to happen. And we're kind of like on this journey of the dark night of the soul. And a lot of us who heard that calling came here to help and help assist in that. And at this time, there's a lot of solar flares going on, like at this moment. And what it is doing, it is activating our starseed DNA. So you're going to feel a very strong calling to shift some kind of reality of yours, whether that's addictive personality, whether that's a soul calling, whether that's a job, relationships. It's going to be different for everybody. Now, just because you're like a starseed DNA does not mean that you are necessarily going to be a healer or a light worker or a psychic or, have special powers to heal people. What that means is that you're going to start to feel a calling to shift your energy and to shift your vibration in a way that's going to go from 3D energy to 5D energy. And the reason I feel like this is really important to say is because I get a lot of questions about this. Like, how do I know? How do I know if I'm a starseed? How do I know if I'm a light worker? And I'm going to be really honest, I don't know how to put it any other way. It's kind of like, when people ask me, like, how do I know? Like, I always respond like, well, how do you know your sexual orientation? Like, how do you know that you're a girl? How do you know that you're a guy? How do you know who you're attracted to? It's a knowing, like, it's not a choice, you know it. And also, like, that is why, I very much believe in people that should go with what their knowing inside is, not necessarily what your exterior is. Because it really is about a calling and a knowing of who you are at your cellular DNA. And so me saying that, I have always really strongly resonated with Draco and with the Palladians. And so I actually, if you know anything about these, when I say Draco, you might think, bad and, oh my gosh. And, like they kind of have like the reptilians of, the starseed DNA. And I definitely resonate with that. I definitely feel like I'm some kind of hybrid or something that I haven't really found yet that hasn't fully resonated with me, where I'm like, yes, this is what I am. But I do know that I am a starseed DNA. I do know that I am a light worker. I do know that I'm doing what my calling is to do. But a lot of that did not happen until I did some major trauma work and went through my dark night of the soul. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because a lot of us want to feel like we have a purpose or a higher calling, but we don't want to do the work to get there. Like, I have a lot of people that come to me and they're like, I just feel stuck. I don't know what my calling is. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm like, well, you're here for a reason, and whatever's coming up is meant to be coming up. And a lot of people are really opposed or resistant to like therapy and stuff like that because they don't want to do the work. And that's really where it begins. I'm going to be really honest. Like doing your shadow work and really working through any trauma or any displacements or patterns or cycles that you need to recognize and change is really the beginning phase of it. If you want to skip that, I don't really know how to tell you that you're going to get there. I'm not saying that you won't get there. I just think it's going to be a lot harder because you're not giving into that resistance. And so my suggestion is to start wherever you're the most resistant. Like, where am I feeling the most resistance? What do I not want to do? And do that. I actually wrote a shadow work workbook for this reason, because I really did see my life transform once I went through that dark night of the soul and I threw myself into shadow work and I threw myself into all this like therapy and healing the past. And I did like family constellation therapy. And if you don't know what that is, it's where you heal your body on a cellular level, where you're healing generations behind you and generations in front of you. And it is really like you're healing shit that isn't yours. You're healing trauma that's passed down through the bloodline. You're healing trauma through generational or cultural experiences. And it's like a whole other level of healing. I also did EMDR for some really intense therapy, and I did regular therapy too, all because I just really wanted to throw myself into some major healing. If you're interested in doing shadow work, I did write a workbook, and I am also doing integrative shadow work coaching, where you could schedule an appointment with me, a one-on-one video session where we would go through certain questions in the workbook that you really want to tackle or not to work through alone, because I don't believe that anybody should do shadow work alone. This is definitely something that you need support with, whether it's me or, other advancement therapy and stuff like that. And if that is the case, it will come up during your session. Intuitively, I will pick up like what needs to be cleared. Is this on a cellular level? Is this DNA? Is this trauma from your childhood? Like, I usually pick it up pretty strongly, and I'm not afraid to be really open and honest with what comes through on your session. So if you have questions about the Starseed DNA, let me know. Leave it in the comments. Or if you have a personal story or experience yourself, feel free to share if you're feeling vulnerable. Like I said, this is really happening right now. Like, we have solar flares happening at this time. So you're really going to see the patterns and things in your life that really need to change, like during this week. And it's not just this week that we have these upgrades and these DNA activations. It's all the time, but I'm telling you this now so that you can be more in tune to what is arising within you and what changes you need to make. If you're super unhappy with your job, it might be that you're being called to do something different. And I want to touch on that again. Like, not everybody's going to be a healer, right? We need people who are in the medical field. We need people who are construction workers. We need people who are in all these different placements. Everybody's got these gifts in the world, but that doesn't mean that you can't still spread knowledge and light and positive energy through word, through inspiration, through affirmations, through writing, through posts. Like, everybody has a gift to share. Like, we all have a meaning for being here. And so if you don't know what yours is, that's okay. Like, ask for signs. Start with, getting in nature, getting clear of the mind, maybe meditating, doing yoga, working out, getting energy work done. I mean, my life shifted dramatically when I started seeing a healer on a regular basis. It was another part of me doing that shadow work. I really threw myself into many different modalities that brought me to where I am now. And now I think I signed up for like 5 or 6 different workshops and coaching programs just in the last 2 months to really advance myself on what I want to do and what I want to offer to my clients. Like, it doesn't just stop. I want to constantly evolve just because this is what I'm doing now, it doesn't mean that it's not going to evolve and shift as we go. Whatever the universe has been sending me, I run with it. Like if you had told me a year ago that I'd be making all these products and doing all these workshops and writing a shadow work workbook, I probably wouldn't have believed that. So, the shadow workbook, maybe, because I did start that about 3 years ago. I knew I was being called to do that. I do think that me helping people through their shadow work is a huge part of my calling. It really is. It doesn't mean that positive stuff doesn't come through on sessions, but I really do think that I am here to help you shift through that darkness into the light. Like I really do think that is a huge piece of who I am and what my calling here on earth is. As the collective, I am being called as a light worker, as a Starseed DNA activation. It is what I'm meant to do. So with that, I am going to say much blessings and love. Pay attention this week to what's arising, and much love to you.